This is extremely bad news for the St. Louis Blues as Jim Montgomery gives them multiple injury updates heading into next game. With huge updates around key players, the St. Louis Blues have a huge decision to make with their lineup moving forward as this team looks to secure multiple wins in a row to get back on track. We're going to break down quotes from Jim Montgomery on key injuries to this roster. So many more things, and you're not going to miss any of this. But before we get into that, I just want to give a huge shout out to everyone watching. And if you're part of the 50.6 that are watching this and you're not subscribed yet, and you want to stay up to date on everything to do around the St. Louis Blues, we're trying to get this down to a 40-60 ratio. So make sure to go down, hit that subscribe button. It means the world. And in return, we'll give you daily updates from all around the Blues. But with that, Darius, we have a lot to cover today. So let's just go straight into this, where the Blues are looking to get back in the win column. We see a quote coming from Jim Montgomery. I didn't feel like we were going through these kinds of growing pains. I didn't foresee that. Every year there's growing pains, just you don't know to what degree. Right now it's a farther degree than I expected, but we will get them back. This is the Blues team that was on a run to start last season. We've seen the run going into the playoffs, taking the President's Trophy winners Winnipeg Jets into a Game 7, which the Blues should have won. But this has just been the start of a St. Louis Blues season that has not started to what fans, management, coaching staff, or the players have wanted. And we do see multiple guys join the lineup today, joining in on the St. Louis Blues team. And listen, there is two key injury updates we'll break down. But Darius, what is your thoughts on the Blues once again shaking up the lineup, adding two of these guys?
Yeah, well, it has to happen because there are some players out due to injury, and we'll get to that in a second and the severity of their injuries. But it makes sense. Torpchenko has actually missed some time with an injury, so he's going to be making his return. Obviously, Sundqvist is staying in. We know that he missed some time due to injury. So the Blues have also been bit by the injury bug so far this year to, a certain extent. So let's keep that in mind as well. But I like that quote from Jim Montgomery. Every single year that there is growing pains, if you look around the league, there's a lot of teams right now that are not in playoff spots that are expected to win the Stanley Cup. So I wouldn't panic just yet. Once we head into November, we're about 2 weeks into November. If things continue this way, then I will hit the panic button. But if you look at last year, there were a lot of growing pains without Jim Montgomery. And then he came in, he was hired, and that was kind of a kick in the butt to a lot of the guys on the team. And they started to go on this run. And then, like you mentioned, took the obviously President's Trophy winners last year to a Game 7. So there are some growing pains here. It is a bit of a different team. The center depth is different. They added some pieces. They trade away Bolduc in the summer, so it is a bit different. So I like that quote, and I think it's right. But they have to get back on track here. And like I was talking about last video, it might take somebody from another team saying the wrong thing and setting somebody off. Maybe there's a fight. Maybe there's a bench clearing brawl. And maybe Jordan Binnington gets involved. Something like that. Like to get the whole team together. It might take something like that. But even if it doesn't, they have to get back on track here. There's a lot of the advanced analytics that are saying this team is actually playing quite all right in a lot of areas of the ice. So if they can continue to do that, then things in theory should turn around. But I'm not ready to hit the panic button just yet until about mid-November. And that's when you look around the league heading into Thanksgiving and you're like, wow, okay, this is what the picture looks like basically heading into the playoffs. Because everyone who's in a playoff spot around Thanksgiving, about 70% of them end up making the playoffs.
And I think the biggest thing is, listen, getting new, fresh bodies into the lineup is awesome. Both guys, or I shouldn't say both, Texier has struggled with 1 assist over 5 games, or Torchenko joining this group has 0 points in 1 game, but getting them in a big body, a big part of this Blues team is going to be great for this lineup. But these guys are coming in a hence of 2 injuries happening to this Blues team, and in my opinion, 2 crucial players going down, where we do get a quote from Jim Montgomery, and we will touch on the quote. But going in, Jim Montgomery has told the media that Robert Thomas, an upper body injury, and Jake Neighbours, lower body injury, are out tonight. Each is day to day. Now, this is crucial. When looking at the lineup, you're losing 2 of your top end guys. And listen, 2 of these guys have played together. We've seen from the intro clip, they had an incredible spinorama pass to Neighbours where he scored. This is the team that needs to get back and consistently get wins after wins, not blow leads, and get some big games out of their goaltenders and defense. But looking at the forwards, losing 2 of these guys, we're seeing Pius Suter step up. Shen is taking the second line once again. Sundqvist third, Bukestad on the fourth. Darius losing 2 of these guys. What is your thoughts on this team? And if this is a long-term, listen, we know it's day-to-day, which we're happy to see that it's not a long-term thing, but could you see maybe an AHL guy called up if they need something to get a spark going?
Maybe to get an offensive spark. Maybe you go down, you get Stenberg or something like that, and maybe play with that a little bit. Because if you look at that third line right now, I am not in love with that. We will see how that plays out. But man, Holloway's got to get going, and I'm not sure those are the two guys to get him going, at least offensively with. So that'll be interesting to keep an eye on. But back to the injuries for a second. That is 2/3 of your first line. What was your first line for the last week or so, right? That is a significant blow. And I know that we've been talking about how, Robert Thomas hasn't really necessarily gotten going yet this season. His numbers are not that bad, 6 points in 8 games, and I expect him to be around a point a game player, maybe 100 points, something like that. So it's not bad in theory, but he hasn't really taken it to another level yet. And then Jake Neighbours has been the Blues, I think, best player this year, at least offensively. So he started hot. They connected in the last game. Of course, they blew that lead. We all know what happened on Saturday, but losing both of these guys, even for one game against the Pittsburgh Penguins team, who has started a lot better than people realize, this could spell trouble again for the Blues tonight. So they have to get back in the win column. Other guys have to step up, whether it's Suter, whether it's Snuggerud. We need a goal out of some of these other guys. Is it Holloway? He's down on the third line now, right? So they need somebody to step up in a big way tonight with those two guys out that have been, to a degree leading the way, at least offensively so far this season. So that's a big blow. And the other thing I wanted to mention, Mark, is they said it's day to day. They could potentially miss another game. We're obviously going to get an update tomorrow after this game on this specifically, but they could miss another game. And how many more do they miss? In theory, day to day sounds good. That means they might miss a game. They might be back, bumps, bruises, all of that stuff. But we know a lot of teams are being very secretive around the league. And sometimes an upper body injury means a lower body injury. And then sometimes day to day means week to week. And then we'll reevaluate. Maybe it's a month, stuff like that. We've seen that around the league. So I'm not saying that that's the case, but I'm not going to, take the wording for face value right now. And hopefully we get a positive update after this game tonight.
And I think Jim Montgomery says it best, where we're looking at a team that's losing 2 of their top 9 forwards. So it's an impact our depth scoring, but the mentality of our team is going to be the same. We're going to check our blanks off. Excuse my language. This is a team that wants to go out and get wins. We know how good they can be. They were a very good team last year, and they added more talent. Pius Suter looks outstanding in the lineup. Bukestad needs to get going a tiny bit, yes, but a lot of these guys are building off a big year last year. Mayu getting back into the lineup really needs to step up. Hofer coming through with Binnington. 2 of these guys need to get going. When looking at the advanced stats on the goaltending, it's not incredible, but the biggest thing is the Blues are going to have to find ways to win without these guys in the lineup. If you can get it going, someone steps up, like you said, maybe Suter, Sen, Holloway, one of these guys step up. When you get a healthy roster again, you can really build off this. But fans, what is your thoughts on this? What is your thoughts on the Blues lineup going into next game? What is your thoughts on losing 2 key players in the lineup? Let us know down in the comments. And speaking on comments, let's go straight into comments today. Coming from NX014 saying, I'm already a subscriber. And listen, if you made it this far, go down and hit the subscribe button and leave a comment down below. Is an upper body injury a hand injury, or is that lower body? Let us know all your thoughts down below. Way down there, leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. We'll be back in another episode, so keep your eye out for that. But I've been your host, Mark, with my co-host, Darius, and take care.